All right, we're gonna pick it up. We're gonna just like the Gem series that was incomplete. So basically, so I had the first set of DVDs, which was like nostalgia, just a hit of nostalgia, and brought it right back. I was like, oh my god, I'm so happy to have these DVDs, but they never released the final part of those original DVDs, which had the singers episodes. So then I had a coworker in 2000, around 2009. The coworker's sister had some VHS tapes that had those episodes, so that maybe I borrowed those. I was like, maybe I can track these down. That led me eventually to a website called Gem Things and Stuff, which was run by Bob out of England. And then what blew me away about that website is that she had the songs, like not only these songs from the show, but she also had acapellas ripped from those DVDs and instrumentals. I was like, acapellas? You can get acapellas to Gem songs? So not only was I reliving the love that I had for the original music, but now I had this idea that maybe I can make some remixes. Maybe it'd be cool to see other people doing mixes. And I was finding, people who did mixes on YouTube, like I think there's DVF France, there's a DJ Fudge, a few other people, lots of people doing mixes. So I was like, wow, maybe I could do this too. And that led to finding JemCon and a whole new wave of Gem love. And finally in 2011, they released a complete series with all the missing episodes. But it's just, I think it speaks to the quality of the show that the music has such a resonance for people, because they really put a lot of heart and soul into the songwriting, the production, making sure that they had the same voices doing the characters. Because I find I'm not to shade Barbie, but I feel like Barbie had multiple voices. She didn't really have a distinct voice that carried through all of her songs. It's like, okay, just like throw someone to the studio, she'll be Barbie today. But Gem was very consistent with like, it's one person who's singing as Gem, it's one person who's singing as Pizzazz, and keeping that consistency through the show's musical songs. So I would like to open this up to everyone. What were your experiences with Gem music, and how did you first get into the songs in the show?
And if you can just, when you raise your hand, I can come bring the camera to you so people from Zoom can participate. So let me just do that.
Yeah,
and they can hear you. Okay, who's first?
Gem is the reason I am a musician.
Who are you? What's your name?
My name is Johnny Gazmonic.
And how do we find your music?
It's on SoundCloud right now.
Okay.
I also do have an album on iTunes under Johnny M, and I'm signed with Dark Wolf International out of Rotterdam.
Okay, very good.
Very nice.
But that's for my brother and sister. Don't get too excited. But when I first watched the show, I think I got the dolls first. And I had Gem and Kimber, and I thought the guitar was the coolest thing in the world. And it still is.
Still is, yeah.
I will fight anybody. So I begged my mom for piano lessons. And I had taken 10 years of classical training before I left for college. Started writing songs when I was a teenager. They were very good. But I always had Gem in my head because I just thought it was so awesome that they could make this music and have these adventures, and it was kind of romantic. And eventually I started, writing decent stuff that I felt okay to release. And once the DVDs came out again, it just kind of fired that all back up again. It's like, oh yeah, this is why I'm a musician. So I owe Gem a tremendous amount that I will never pay.
That's awesome. Thank you for sharing. Anyone else want to say anything? Anything you want to add? Garth?
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Well, I think that is true that Gem inspires a lot of musicians, because you even see some of the people that have done songs later on have even gotten, I believe their name, they changed their name, but originally it was Desmond Meeks, who sought out Britta Phillips and Samantha Newark to sing on the song It's What You Do With What You Got. And I think there's that influence where people definitely wanted to have like the Gem sound, or even Freeze Pop, an electronic group. They did a cover version of the Gem theme, and so you just see that influence where people still reference it, and even in newer seasons of Drag Race across the world, like Drag Race Italia and Drag Race Canada, you've seen tributes to Gem.
If you watch, I think it's season 13, Rosé's work of entrance is completely a Gem house.
Oh yeah, very pink. And Diabetes.
It's got the belt and everything.
And Diabetes as Rapture is what it is.
My boyfriend testified, I lost. Not only was it a Gem reference, it was a relatively deep cut Gem reference.
Yeah.
Yeah, so yeah, definitely Gem still resonates in so many ways with people. And so does anybody have a favorite song that really speaks to them from the show?
Really outrageous. The actual song.
Not the theme song. Truly outrageous. Why do you like it, Raven?
Because the initial lyrics look at me in a different role, trying out a brand new part. But don't you worry, baby, I'll never have a change of heart. It's like every facet of myself that I want to express. Anyone who loves me doesn't have to feel threatened by it. I'm not going to choose that over them. There's room in my life and existence and expanse for both everything that I want to be and love for you too. It was just perfect. It was perfect.
That's awesome. Someone else had a favorite in the room. I have some favorites on Zoom. So let me get to you first, Jansen.
Only the beginning.
Only the beginning. That's one of my favorites too.
It was the first Gem song I saw in the series, and I just got chills when I saw it. And I love the build up to it, like something big is coming, you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
then they reveal the band and all that. And I remember just being like 11 years old and seeing that cartoon for the first time. Oh my God, I'm close. You know what I mean? But it's my favorite. And Britta said it's one of her favorites too. So, so
That's
yeah,
awesome.
I love it.
Ankur?
I was gonna say music and dance.
Really?
I know it's a little tricky, but I think the message of it
It's a little
about
tricky.
like it brings people together, will wipe the lines off the map. Whatever differences music and dance will, bridge the gap. And I think it's aspirational, right? Like, I mean, look around here too. Like, we're all from different places. We all have different backgrounds, but it's the music that brought us together. And I think that's a message that going forward, it's something that hopefully will bring us together. Right?
Yeah.
I heard this song because I think in 1989 when reruns, it was just before the Berlin Wall fell. And it did say it's so convenient. It seems like we all resolve our difference with music and dance, and that's what they did when they destroyed the wall. So
Yeah.
in some kind, it's kind of criminal, forcing the future.
If it's over here.
So, my favorite as an adult became Coming From Behind, just because I've had some personal challenges and setbacks in my life, and just at this point, it's almost become like my anthem. It's like, yeah, things happen, but I can still come back even if I'm falling behind. So I just love that song so much.
The race isn't over, right?
Exactly.
I have so many, but I'm gonna actually do a twofer because it's basically the same song twice. There's a melody playing and there ain't nobody better. And I
That was
like
a fun
that
episode,
because
yeah.
It really demonstrates actually how similar the band approaches to music are. They can both take the same music and make something awesome out of it. One of my favorite moments of the entire series is in Bitter and Gold. She bought one of each. Because I'm like, yeah, you don't have to be team A or team B. You can like everything. Music is this massive spectrum, and you can take one thing and make it your own, and it can be someone make that same thing and make something totally different out of it. And that is what is awesome about music.
And one aspect of the show I don't hear get noticed too often is like, Jem and the Hollow. I mean, they're the heroes. Of course, they've got to win the contest every night. But like the Misfits were really popular too. In that same episode, Star was like, "Well, we still sold 500,000 records. That's nothing to be ashamed of."
Well, I mean, there is one moment where they actually win over the holograms fair and square when they win the award.
Yes,
But the holograms are doing the benefit. They didn't go to the award show.
Mhm.
So it's like, no, the Misfits have fans. They are getting awards. They are popular as heck. It's like I have gotten into massive online fights and had to Gaga versus Madonna to me. It's like,
We can like both.
why
Yeah.
can't you like both of them? What's wrong with that?
I like that. Misfits legitimately won that award. Like, no cheating, no manipulate. Like, they legitimately won. It's like, yes, because they're good too.
We have a lot of people on Zoom who have a lot of opinions. I want to ask some of them to come off mute and maybe share with us. Some Glitter and Gold is being mentioned. It's a Hard Life is a rager. Destiny, Mind Games, Who Is She Anyway? Always There in My Heart, Like a Dream, Straight from the Heart, Deception, Jealousy. Yeah, any music is magic is mentioned a couple times, depends on the mood I'm in. Free and easy. I like your style, even if they sound like monkeys. So anyone want to come off mute who's on Zoom and kind of share with the room if we can hear you? Maybe not. We are Gem fans after all.
I could.
I heard somebody.
That was me.
Who is it?
It's Jem.
It's Gem. Gem's with us. What's your favorite song, Gem?
Yeah, probably It's a Hard Life, just because it can be applied to any situation, really, any real life situation. And it's true, like, even though, you know, they seem like this really popular, stylish band on the outside, obviously they've had to earn it where they've come from, and they've kind of grown up together, busking and working on the streets and everything. And I just find it really inspiring, even though obviously they can have a little bit of an attitude sometimes.
Yeah, that's true. It kind of softens the stingers, definitely. Thanks for sharing, Jem. Who else from Zoom wants to share with the room? We can hear you pretty well, right, everyone? Thumbs up,
I've got one. Can you hear me?
Okay. Who is it? Yep.
It's Amy. It's Amy Collins Russell. Hey.
Hey, Amy Collins Russell.
Hey. So I posted it in the chat, but I'll say it, like, say it. So I think my absolute favorite is Music is Magic. And I like the one from like the Magic episode, but the one from the Battle of the Bands, episode 5, because you have this moment where the Misfits are about to be announced as the winners of the Battle of the Bands. And this has been like 6 months of this like build up to this moment. And like, you know, they cheated, you know, Eric's done this stuff. And then like, just as Howard Sands is about to announce them, you hear Aja's guitar riff, like, hold up, that's not happening. We're gonna get to play our part. And then they sing the song and like the whole stadium goes absolutely insane. And they win, like easily, they win. And it's just this moment of like, I love the first 5 episodes. Like that movie, I watched it. I can probably recite the whole thing right now. I won't, but I probably will. But like that whole arc, and you get to that moment, like that song takes me every single time. Like every time I hear that guitar riff, I'm like, yes, it's on. They're not gonna, you know, it's gonna happen. And so that, like, that's my favorite, easily. That's my favorite.
That's great. In the context of that specific version of it makes it, it's just really, really special. I totally agree.
Well, and we have those moments in our life where, you know, you have been through it and you've tried so hard and you've got haters and stuff happens to you, and it you know, it builds up to you have a moment like that where you're not going to take this lying down. You have to fight back. You have to figure out what to do. And they do. And like, to me, like that interruption of like stopping Howard from announcing that, it's so awesome. I love it. Absolutely love it.
Great moment. Thank you for sharing, Amy.
No
Anyone
problem.
else on Zoom want to share with us about your favorite song and why? Takia, I see your hand raised.
Hi. Can you guys hear me?
Yep.
Okay. So I don't really have like much of a deep personal reason. I just like depends on the mood I'm in. I mean, I feel like she sings like an angel. Britta Phillips, she sings like an absolute angel. She does a vocal run on the word in several times throughout the song. And I'm like, yes, girl. When she's like, depends on the mood I'm in. I'm like, ooh. And I'm just like I said to my little sister, I said, for a cartoon, like that's some amazing vocal. I've never heard a cartoon character that could sing like that. So I was like, this is amazing.
Yeah,
So, I
we
love
all
that
felt
song.
that at some point throughout the show that we felt like, wow, this is made for us, for kids. And it's so good, right?
And then pink is my favorite color too. So that's another thing. I was just like, as a kid, I was like, oh my gosh. So yeah, I love everything about it. I love music. I like to sing anyway. So like this show is just like perfect for me.
That's awesome. Maybe we'll hear your karaoke tonight if we can get you on Zoom karaoke.
Yeah, I might record something.
Thanks, thanks, Takia.
Thank you.
Jessica, yeah, go.
Interject. That song I think works well because if you listen to it, it really sounds like something you would have heard on radio. I mean, I know they tried very hard to make it sound like pop, but that one especially, the drums, the piano, very sophisti-pop, very adult contemporary. Like I can imagine that being a crossover hit in the room.
Yeah, totally. I have Jessica on the line who wants to chime in about her favorite songs. Jessica.
Hi, yeah. It's really hard to pick a favorite because honestly, all the music is so great. But I just wanted to mention that not only does Britta have a gorgeous voice, and it's just angelic and wonderful, just all the things you guys have been saying, but also Ellen, I mean, she is just amazing because she has such sass. And it's just that attitude of the Misfits. I just love it so much. And I mean, a lot of the Misfits songs are pretty amazing, like almost all of them. So yeah, I just wanted to say that. And of course, Riot has that gorgeous, gorgeous silky voice. So yeah.
Yeah, cool. And no favorite Misfits song you want to call out, Jessica?
Oh gosh, it's hard. I love Destiny. I love We Can Change It. When It's Only Me and the Music, Designing Woman, Universal Appeal.
Okay, enough.
You get the idea.
Yeah, I get the idea. So Jessica, you're going to be in our virtual cosplay contest tonight, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I saw your entry, so looking forward to seeing how that turns out. And we're going to announce that at the beginning of the virtual meetup tonight, the winners of the virtual cosplay. So I know we have some good entries for that. So that's just a little plug on top of this. Anyone else on Zoom want to chime in before we go back to the room?
Yeah, I'd like to.
We're having a little trouble with your connection. Who's speaking? Maybe put it in the chat. We didn't get the last person, sorry. It's Vasily from Russia.
Vasily.
Yeah, Vasily. We couldn't hear you. We have to put that one in the chat. Sorry.
You can
Anyone
hear
else?
me?
Try again.
Guys, you cannot hear me?
I can hear you now.
Okay. You can. Okay.
Anyone else on the line want to chime in before we go back to the room?
Sure, I can. This is Johanna from Chicago.
Hey, Johanna, welcome.
Hey. So a couple of years ago for a Halloween event, we did a Gem and the Hologram set, and we had to choose like a 30-minute set of songs. And a lot of the songs I don't remember because at the time I was like 6 or, between like 6 and 8. But one of the songs that I really loved performing was The Real Me, because it just felt like this really cool like 80s pop jam. And the vocals on it were just so much fun to sing and perform. And I just really dug that, among Glitter and Gold and some of the other songs that we did. But The Real Me is kind of like, I don't know, an underdog. So I just wanted to bring that up.
Yeah, it is often overlooked. You say we performed. What do you mean? Who's performing?
So a couple years ago, my band and I performed this Gem and the Holograms for a Halloween show here in Chicago.
So what's your
for a
band
charity
called?
event.
We want to plug and celebrate your musical career.
Well, it was just basically made for the show. So it was just a bunch of musicians here that we put together. So it's not like we're a band anymore. We did it for the night.
Cool, that's awesome. Yeah, thanks for being part of this, Johanna. I've seen you on all the virtual stuff, so thanks for being part of it.
Oh, appreciate you. Thanks for bringing it virtual to us. We so appreciate it.
That's awesome. What else do you want to, anyone else in the room want to talk about the music or mention anything? Davide?
I had a question about last night's trivia. That's okay. When
Oh.
you guys said that the section was tango.
That's a Jacques question.
Yeah, I don't think, and Brian ever say about that, or I can really hear a tango.
She spoke about she used different style. Did the country style for I think taking the train, or if she did a swing like we're making it happen, and she did a jazz one. So there are those style, even ballads and rock and roll and 60s, 50s rock and roll. So there's lots of I don't recall that she said explicitly that one was a tango, but it is obvious. You have it-
Obvious to you?
Yes,
Okay.
there's a spot on my trivia where they are dancing like the tango.
Okay, so it's more like the way they dance rather than the rhythm of
The rhythm also.
The rhythm also.
Yeah. What's yeah?
Pum, 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 pum. That's a tango.
Yeah. Okay, that was
Speaking of jazz hands, anyone have any opinions about that song?
Justice for jazz hands.
Hashtag justice for jazz hands.
That song is the only song that my son said he liked.
Okay. You know, you went to be
Jim ever sang the band name.
Oh,
When she said
that's trivia right there, yeah. Keep that for next year. Razzmatazz, pizzazz, yeah, okay. Awesome, that's true. You wanted to say something else, yeah?
And actually, written extensively about the show for the website I read for you, the article on the music. What interests me about the music, and I always tell that, like, the Misfits are actually better in my opinion. But Jem's music tends to rely very heavily on those kind of the acceptable pop production and arrangements, especially when you look at American pop. The Misfits, however, were much more experimental. They grabbed from 50s stuff. They would use random sounds in their music, which you didn't hear a lot of. Think of songs like I Am a Giant, Give Me a Gimmick, where they have this strange electronic bits of their music that just didn't show up in American pop music at all, which always kind of fascinated me. So I would love to at one point deep dive on like where they were made the inspiration for the different bands. I know the Stingers both represent like Europop, but the Misfits to me were grabbing a lot from what was going on in Europe. Disco never really died, and they just kept experimenting, turning it new and else. Very, very interesting commentary. Yeah. Let me just check with the Zoom people. They're saying the thing is muffled on mine. Zoom, can you hear us well? We didn't change anything in the computer. Can you change and rearrange the problem? Yeah. It's still muffled. Someone's playing music, maybe that's why it's muffled. The mashup. Takia played the mashup. Tell us about the mashup, Garth, while I try to fix this.
So one of the extreme pleasures, and I'm also getting into, I'm wearing this New York hologram 1.0. One of the pleasures of getting into doing my own mashups for Jam is just finding out what works with different songs, and just like, oh, this song, oh, I can hear that song working with that instrumental, or just playing around with it. And then very graciously, as my remixes started to get out there, then for JemCon 2014,
Samantha Newark very generously recorded some sound bites for me to use, including this is the remix, and the Gem voice, which is like I almost like fainted and roll over it. I cannot believe my ears when I heard that. And so Samantha very graciously did some clips and sent me the vocals for one of her songs, "Hands on Me," and then I was able to incorporate that into a Gem mega mix. Then a few years later, we were in Seattle. And then I was getting a suggestion. TJ and Ucker are my magic charms for remixes. Because I bounce my ideas off of them. They tell me, oh yeah, this is something that you can do or should do.
Or shouldn't do, right?
Yeah, well, they don't necessarily like my long extended club mixes like the thumpa thumpa.
Right.
But then one of the ideas was like, oh, we're going to Seattle. Well, what about a Nirvana mashup? And so I was like, well, how? Like, yeah, what song would even sound angry enough to? But then I'm coming from behind, kind of worked with the chorus, and I was like, okay. And then I thought, and then a little bit of happy endings. And I thought, okay, this is a long shot, but I would love it if I could get the hello, hello, hello from the original Nirvana. Like maybe Britta could just send me a quick. I would take a voice memo. I would take just sing the hello, hello, hello part. She very generously sent me back a full verse and a chorus, complete with background vocals for me to use.
It's great. We'll hear it tonight, right? Probably
Yes,
at the disco.
tonight.
So point it out when we hear it. It's an awesome mix.
Oh, thank you. Well, thank you to everybody who appreciates my mix. Like I'm blown away that people like them. And
You've become a music producer as a result of your Gem love as well, right?
It makes me feel like just giving that creativity an outlet, like this wanting to do something with the Gem songs that I didn't even think I could do at first. Like I've done remixes over the years, but then Gem was just like a challenge for like, oh, can I even do this? Can I make this work as a new thing? And that, again, encourage everyone to play with music, just play with whatever you're doing, because you never know what you'll come up with, and you can have fun with it. But yeah, so just both to Samantha Newark and Britta Phillips and everyone who has helped me with my mixes. Thank you so much. Just a shout out to them in general and everyone who supported me creating them. So yeah, I was very just blown away by that. And what I was going to say about bringing me to my next topic is finding out about the voices on Gem and how many songs they sang. Like a lot of the vocal artists who did the background vocals, they were involved in like huge disco records. I think Diva Gray was part of the background vocalist for Sister Sledge.
Vicky C. Robinson.
Yes, Vicky C. Robinson as a Rapture and Minx. And she also alternates her voice slightly between the verses. So you hear a difference between I share your conviction. Same thing goes for me. So she's doing both voices, kind of competing with herself, which is kind of cool. And Ellen Bernfeld has been she did the disco version of the Memory from Cats. I was like, a disco version of So has anyone discovered or had fun discovering? I didn't even know when I was a kid. I did not even know that Samantha Newark and Britta Phillips were two different people did the voice of Gem, and Samantha sings too, and it just blew me away finding out who had done music outside of Gem. So I also started looking for Britta Phillips had a band called Bell Tower. She and her husband Dean, they were Dean and Britta. She's in the band Luna now. Samantha Newark has done a lot of music over the years and had some great albums, and she has an amazing new remix album, Hologram 2.0. This is the 1.0. 2.0 is the remix album produced by Jared Jones, and it's awesome.
And you can buy it in the room, right? You can buy it. She has copies. She has vinyl copies of it, pink vinyl, of course. That you can buy from her stand in there. So check it out.
Get on that, yeah, because it's an awesome album, and I'm a remix junkie. So I'm just like, you sell it to me. Sell me some remixes. I want it.
Honestly, one of the best remix albums I've heard in a very long time. They're very hard to do these days. I remember when the Chromatica remix album came out, it was very disappointing. But this one, just every single one is about, and it doesn't detract from the magic of the original. It just puts a new spin on it.
Very good, yeah, very good point. Yeah, definitely. I thought it was really well produced, and yeah, it definitely bops the plenty. So.
I remember in 2000, I was looking for Britta Phillips. I love Gem's voice so much, and there was a band called Ultra Baby Fat, like all one word, and she was in it, but she didn't. They put her on bass. They didn't use her voice. It's very frustrating. So I don't think I have that CD anymore, even though I should have kept it. But I was really disappointed that I didn't have more Britta music. What's up?
I'm not a little off the topic now, but when I discovered Gem, it was on late 80s, the television network said that now we are not broadcasting the stereo. So I expected to hear some song in stereo, but it was not the case. And some later cartoon then had stereo soundtrack. But I said, it's a shame that you cannot hear songs in stereo. I suppose in studio they recorded in stereo. And on the internet, when we received some thing, we heard the full stereo version of not all the songs, but some. And there is this one, it's not my favorite, but it's called Trouble. When they said the first trouble, if you have your headphone, you're in trouble from the right, trouble from the left, the third trouble in the middle.
Oh, wow.
So it's
That's
very
great.
impressive. If you just look on speaker, you won't maybe know this is, but if you have your headphone, the first trouble is at the right, second trouble at the left, the third trouble at the middle. So,
Trouble all around, like the misfits are coming. Exactly. David, you know more about the stereo stuff too, kind of?
I'm pretty sure that the one you're talking about is handmade. There was made using the stems, the separate stems of mono audio, mono vocals, and mono background vocals. The ones that the mitigating found in South America. So because the actual real stereo are only the ones from the cassette tapes, whether the ones from Hasbro, not all the songs. And this is unexplained. We don't know why only a few songs ended up stereo on the Hasbro cassette tapes. Some didn't, but all the demos that the people working at the cartoon received were stereo. So all the storyboard artists, the story editors, they had these cassette tapes with demos from the song to work on the storyboards or working on the script. They all had stereo cassette tapes, and unfortunately Christy lost all of them. She was just about to digitize it, so we would have probably many more songs in stereo, even though a cassette tape, but it's still better. Because mind that many of the songs have been edited in the show. So they had longer intros, or they ended without cheering on covering the last notes. So it would be really nice to be able to hear those songs like as they were studio movements. Fortunately, we only have a bunch.
Thanks for that.
The show is and sometimes if you want to repeat it, it's you see that it's a repetition.
Yeah.
So it would have been nice to have some kind of bridge or something to extend it, but that was the format of the show. But we like it like this anyway. Yeah. It was very interesting, and also when I first heard it, there was the video clips because it was starting like much music. So we have the name of the artist, name of the song. I said, it's cool.
Right, that's very cool. MTV influence, right?
That's music video style.
What else you want to talk about, Garth?
Yeah, so I was gonna ask like everybody. So have you sought out any of the artists from Jam outside of Jam? Any favorite picks from the people who worked on the show? Oh yeah,
Warner.
AKA Kimber.
She was Kimber in I'm Okay, and she was Stormer in This Is Farewell. That was a little strange, but Florence Warner was a pretty big recording artist in the late 70s and early 80s. She did some, so you can find on YouTube. Unfortunately, there's no CDs of her music, so only vinyl, right? But there are some beautiful songs that you will hear Kimber. If you like I'm Okay, which is one of my favorite songs, you will definitely want to look up Florence Warner on YouTube. Beautiful voice. And she also sang, of course, for US citizens and Canadians too. You might find her voice familiar. She used to sing the Hello News jingle in every state.
Oh, she did the Hello News?
Yeah, so she even got to record the Hello Nashville with the there's a recording of her with the Nashville Symphonic Orchestra singing Hello to Nashville, Channel 2 loves you, something like that. She did it for every single state of the US. She sang, oh, and for Calgary. That was her first song. She said, I did some research.
Apparently.
Rochester on the TV Nerd 2 side note. And then, hello, Rochester. You know, Skipper sang about Rochester. I'm okay with that. But yeah, it's amazing all these people. I was going to say something controversial about Kim because I actually thought movie Kimber from Gem the movie Hit Me Up. It captured more of Kimber's boy crazy like pop essence. I love that song so much because I was like, oh, Kimber's sassy in this. I like this. So I was gonna say, did anyone else like the music, the Gem soundtrack?
Ankur, TJ, you were gonna say something? Before the movie.
Before the movie, there was another movie that Britta Phillips was in, Satisfaction, which was supposed to be, I guess, like a star maker for Justine Bateman. But I think like the Britta song in the movie is really the one that kind of you take away with it, which was Mr. Big Stuff.
Mr. Big Stuff. That version, it sounds like Gem singing the song.
Yeah, for a while, it was like if you wanted more Gem music, it was like the only other song you could find. Was Mr. Big Stuff.
Yeah.
I personally listen to Mr. Robinson because we have a legitimate disco icon as part of Gem, Grammy nominated for Turn the Beat Around, which is one of the best disco songs ever recorded. So, I mean, if you listen to her stuff, quite frankly, I think people don't know her beyond that song, and she had a lot of very good disco.
And she also has some late, just sadly, she passed her in 2000. She has some like modern dance tracks that are club hits. Like she has a song called "Move On." You could just imagine she's moving on from the stairs. She's like, "Move on, move on." So yes, it's fun to have those moments where you like the people that you grew up with. But like, oh, they like all these other projects they've done. It's just like a plethora of music out there to search and celebrate.
So on the movie topic, there was also a CD they put out to trick you before the movie came out called Truly Outrageous, and it has some songs on it that aren't in the movie. And I have a soft spot for that album for some reason. My husband hates it. But I like the I'm Okay from that. I like they made the song titles look like Gem song titles. We thought they were gonna like re-record them, but that was all that was the same about them. Glitter and Gold had a few touches of the Glitter and Gold original, which is also a good song. And then Truly Outrageous had some lines, like some Barry Harmon lines in it, from it's like a tribute album to Starlight Music or something weird, right? But the total bait and switch.
I was super disappointed because I did a pre-order. And I found out that it was not covered.
And you were like, cancel aboard.
And then I bought it.
Okay. You can't help yourself, right?
There are a couple of songs that I do like, and it ended up in a specific moment of my life when I kind of have a good memory of those.
Yeah, because you worked on the movie a little bit too.
I also worked on the movie. Yes, it was the same week when I received the draft material of the movie to work on.
So translate. Yeah.
For the Italian dubbing. If people who don't know me, I translate shows for Italian dubbing for the release in it. So I got it like a few months before it came out, and the same week that movie came out. So it was a fun August
moment. Yeah, that moment in 2015 was kind of fun. There was new Gem stuff, right? There was
Gem stuff coming out. So, okay,
especially before we saw the movie, we were really excited about it.
And then the thing is that the preliminary video I received at the very end of the Misfits scene, it actually ended with something written on screen to be continued. So that gave me more hope. I said, okay, this movie is okay, but that to be continued, like seen on screen, was almost a promise that this was just the beginning.
Yeah.
And then, in the final video, you just have the scene. It ends without
To be continued.
Without, which was redundant, you don't need to say to be continued.
But still, it would have been great for the show perspective, you know, like
Yeah.
to be continued was like
Especially would be more awkward if you write to be continued. That's not.
right. I don't think we're gonna see that movie.
I would have loved to see Kesha.
I know, right?
Yeah.
That was a fun. And it would have been successful. Because people who have read the script, it's very good.
There was a script for the second movie?
Yeah, and the treatment for the third.
What?
Yep.
How did we find these things? I got chills. Yeah.
One of the things, a little tidbit that I knew is that we were in Toronto, like we saw the movie several times, like our little Toronto contingent. And then what happened is like our friend Alana's not here right now, but she was dressed up as Jam, and so she was there, and then someone noticed her and said like, "Oh yeah, I'm the brother of the screenwriter," and we're like, "Are you really?" And then, but then he was talking to us and saying that, oh yeah, he thought the second movie was going to be called The Rise of the Misfits. And then we're like, okay, and I'm still taking this with a grain of salt. And I looked him up later. We took pictures. Looked him up later, and oh, he's legit. So
That's cool. Maybe you can say something about the movie. No movie. No music from the movie. Nothing good.
The title, well, not title track, the first song that was the most popular from the soundtrack is Youngblood. I love the beat to that song, but if you slow down and listen to the words, I think it's, a little concerning for some of the things that they're advocating should happen from a young woman's perspective.
What do you want to illuminate us? I don't think I know what you're talking about.
Well,
Youngblood. Or if you don't want to, it's fine.
It just sounds like it's the story of a young woman who is intentionally seeking a sexual experience. And I didn't personally think that for this movie to be marketed toward young women the way that it is, that was the song that should have, led.
And that they actually made a Hillary Duff version of, and that was obviously going to be their single they were trying to make.
But that was, But as far as one of the things, I think you had mentioned that it was only $5 million and it would have been difficult to make a profit out of. One of the reasons I personally believe that didn't happen was that there has been so much anticipation for a Jem and the Holograms movie since the 80s when the cartoon was on. And all of that anticipation wasn't met with what we were expecting. We thought that it was going to be, at least for one, the characters would be the same ages, and they weren't. It was shifted to a different target audience. And I think that was one of the reasons that it lost so much fanfare from the people who were expecting something different from the cartoon fandom. I would like to see it redone involving what Christy Marks would have wanted to see in a Jem and the Holograms movie. If that ever happens, I am there, and I will not miss it. If that ever happens, I will not miss that.
I think we'll all be there, right? Anyone else? Any commentary, or Garth, you want to change topics?
I do talk about that. But I will say, just like the Youngblood, sometimes I am red hot and feeling naughty. Yeah.
And I'm not a professional musician in any sense, but I've loved music my whole life. And so when I listen to music, I sing along all the time and stuff. And my perception has been that even though this was a kid show and they could have kind of just thrown us this okay, we need to have songs, whatever, but it feels to me like these are pretty challenging songs from a singing and performance perspective. They could have just made some really easy to sing along pop songs, but it's some of these are really hard, and some of Britta's high notes are really high.
Yeah.
So I guess my question is is that just me, or is that legit?
No, they
legit, right? Yeah.
made legit music. They just didn't oh, it's kiddie songs. No, Britta Phillips has a very high register. Even Ellen has a relatively high register in some of her songs. I am a baritone. I can't sing some of it when I transpose it in my head. So they just didn't this was not throwaway stuff. They put all of their thought and care into this, like they were making a real, actual album. So, I mean, that's part of the reason the music still hits the way it does.
Absolutely, absolutely. I completely agree with that. I completely agree with that. I remember one of the first things that I recognized the love for Gem music when I first started coming to JemCon in 2015. I had found some of the music online, and I had some of the songs in my phone playlist right there next to whoever top one and top two in Billboard. There was no distinction for me because the sound quality, the lyrics, everything was a real song. They were just supposed to be for a cartoon band, but it was real music, and it just flowed right with everything else that I was playing, from the internet, the newest artists, and everything. So I'm totally in 100% agreement with that. It is definitely real music.
This has been my gym music for the last week. It's 149 tracks.
Oh my gosh.
It's not even every song from the show. I disagree.
Wow. But yeah, it's something like, I like all kinds of music, everything from pop to opera to Broadway, and it's like, and I like to, sing in my living room or whatever, and it's like, these seem particularly challenging, even compared to pop songs, much less like when you compare it to like what you typically get from kid show. It's like y'all didn't have to go that hard, but
Yeah, thank God they did.
Yeah.
It's an interesting thing when you think about it, because I feel like I still love cartoons and musical cartoons, but there are whole shops that are designated to the tone of this cartoon and the demographic of this cartoon. When you think about Gem, Hasbro went, this needs music, we want music, send it to people in New York who do the things. That's why you have these artists who are legit artists, and they're coming in as session musicians or doing background vocals. So those people who were working on the music, they weren't necessarily in the bubble of it being a cartoon.
Right.
They were like, we are legitimate musical people. They gave us a task to give them, 30 seconds and they fought for 60 and 90-second songs. And this was the task we got. We got a theme, we got a general vibe, let's do it. So I think that really contributes a lot to these things sounding very much like music of the day, and also I agree with exactly how you said it. They didn't have to go that hard, but they did, and I appreciate it.
Well, and if you got these session musicians, you got someone like Bria that can sing that high. Why not have her sing that high? You're not going to hire Mariah Carey in the 90s, let's put it this way. And but, that's what you do.
And on that note, on that high note, we shall conclude the discussion because music is magic. And thank you all for being a part of this wonderful discussion. So thank you so much, everybody. Give yourself a round of applause.
Thank you, Zoom. Thank you, everyone. It was fun.